Okay, so today we're going to take a look at the second half of 6.6, which is going to wrap up trapezoids for us and move into kites. So we've got 4 problems here to start. So what I'd recommend right away on this video is to hit pause on the video. All right, give yourself about 10 minutes and try these 4 problems. They match up with the 6 problems that we did in class yesterday almost perfectly. All right, so give these a try first on your own. Nope, seriously, I mean stop the video right now and pause. All right, give these a try on your own. Seriously, you're still listening to me? Not good. All right, so pause. Okay, you listened that time. So now you're back, and we're going to go over these 4 now that you've already given them a try 10 minutes. Hopefully you really did give them a try during that 10 minutes that you just paused this video for. All right, so if we go over these, let's look at the first one. All right, first one says find XY and AB if FC is the mid-segment of the trapezoid ABDE. All right, so first thing that I noticed on this one is I'm going to go after the angles because it uses all old information for us. All right, X and the 58 are consecutive interior angles, and we know that means they're going to be supplementary. So I've got X plus 58 equals 180. Subtract 58 from both sides, and I'm going to be at 122. All right, so our X value is going to be 122, and that takes care of the first one. Now I'm going to use a similar idea at B and D. All right, those are consecutive interior as well. So I've got 105 plus Y equals 180. Subtract the 105 off each side, and I'm going to have 75. All right, now that gives us the X and the Y. The next thing we're going to have to do is work with the mid-segment. Now, the mid-segment, yesterday, everything had you find the length of the mid-segment given the other 2. All right, this one goes a little bit different because it gives you one base, the mid-segment, and it's looking for the other base. Honestly, this actually ends up being an easier question if you use more of a street math approach versus an equation approach. All right, so what I notice is that's in the middle. It's halfway between. It's the average of the 2. All right, so I'm going to look at the gap. I go from 20 down to 16. That's down 4. So if that's halfway in between the 2 bases length, I'm going to go down by 4 again, and that's going to take me to 12. All right, so that's the kind of more street math, as I'd call it, approach to the problem. If I want to look at it more algebraically, I can say x plus 20, all right, one of the bases, plus 20, divided by 2 equals the mid-segment, which is 16. So then I go to x plus 20 equals 32, and then subtract that, and I get to x equals 12. All right, so there is a very rote way to do it, but there's also that kind of more intuitive way of, I know it's in the middle, so how big a step did I take? Take that same size step again. All right, so that takes us through number 1. If I go on to number 2, it says OL is the mid-segment of isosceles trapezoid, JKMN, find XY and JK. All right, so now after that last one, hopefully you're saying, oh, JK is going to be the easiest. So I'm going from 10 to 6.5. All right, that's subtracting 3.5. Moving down by 3.5. So I'm going to move down by 3.5 again. All right, and that takes me to 3. So JK is 3. And again, that's because the mid-segment's length is half the sum of the bases. All right, so it's basically the average of those 2, or that in-between step. Later you'll learn it as the arithmetic mean. If I look for x, now I'm going to use the fact, again, that I have consecutive interior angles. So x plus 58 equals 180. All right, and that matched up with the exact same numbers as the last problem, so we've got x equals 122 again. How nice of them. All right, so now we're going to go to y. So on y, we're using the fact that they said this was isosceles. All right, and in isosceles, we know the base angles are congruent, so that 58 and the y have to be the same size. So 58 equals y, and we've got our y value. All right, that takes us through number 2. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at number 3 and 4. Now, number 3 and 4, honestly, they both hinge on Pythagorean theorem. All right, so the key ideas here, I can carry that height over, so that piece is 15 as well. All right, I can carry the 20 down to the bottom there. And now I'm going to have to find this piece and this piece. All right, and both of those are Pythagorean theorems. So I'm going to set up the Pythagorean theorem, but I'm going to leave it to you to go ahead and solve the rest of the way. All right, so I get x squared plus 15 squared equals 39 squared. That's going to give me x. For y, I've got y squared plus 15 squared equals 17 squared. And that's going to be enough to give me y. All right, so I use both those equations. I solve for x and y. It asks me for perimeter, so now I'm going to add together the 39, the 20, the 17 going across the top, plus whatever value I get for y, plus 20, plus whatever value I get for x. All right, and that's going to give me my perimeter. Now, looking at 4, again, very similar problem, but this one we have to do one thing. Just like we did in class today, it's isosceles trapezoid, so you know these two base pieces are actually going to have to be the same length. All right, so we have 78 all the way across. So to find those two pieces, I'm going to start with 78 minus 30 to find out how much more we have on the bottom base than the top base. All right, and that's going to be 48. Then we're going to cut that in half because we're splitting it between the two sides, which gives me a 24. All right, so each of these sides is 24. And the center section there in the middle is going to be 30, just like it is on the top. So when I look for the altitude, this height here, right, I'm going to use Pythagorean theorem on the left side of this or the right side. So I have 24 squared plus h squared equals 25 squared. All right, and that's going to be enough to solve for h, which is our altitude. All right, so that should take you through those. If that wasn't enough in the video, definitely stop in on Friday during our help session, and I'm happy to work through these the rest of the way. But that gets you to Pythagorean theorem where you should be able to solve that at this point. Again, if not, it's no big deal. Just come into the help session. We'll spend a little bit of time going over Pythagorean theorem so you're ready to go. All right, so that part takes care of the wrap-up of trapezoid. I'll be back in the second half or the second video with our information on kites. Thanks, bye.